welcome back to Mindset with Gina, the podcast where we dive into strategies for living your best life with ADHD. I'm Gina Odom. I'm an ADHD professional coach, and today we are tackling a big topic, burnout. Why ADHD brains are prone to burnout and how to prevent it. If you've ever felt like you've hit a wall, mentally, physically, and emotionally, you're not alone. Burnout happens to many of us with ADHD. But there's good news. It's preventable. But you have to pay attention and remain connected to see the signs. So let's talk about why ADHD brains are more prone to burnout, how to recognize the signs, and most importantly, how to avoid it. First, let's talk about why ADHD makes us more susceptible to burnout. Hyperfocus and energy crashes. As ADHDers, we have a gift for diving deep into tasks that excite us. We hyperfocus, we lose track of time, hunger, and we even go over our own limits. But that intensity isn't sustainable. And when we push too hard, we crash hard. Executive function challenges, managing priorities, planning, and pacing ourselves can be tough sometimes. We often take on too much or underestimate how long something will take. This leads to working overtime to catch up, which wears us out. Rejection sensitivity disorder, HSP, which is highly sensitive person, and people pleasing. Many of us with ADHD have heightened sensitivity to rejection or criticism. We say yes too much to prove ourselves or avoid disappointing others, even when it means overloading our own plates, or we have trouble delegating. How many times have you caught yourself saying it's easier if I just do it? Emotional dysregulation. ADHD brains often feel emotions more intensely. Stress, frustration, or overwhelm can compound quickly, leaving us emotionally drained, which is why when you find yourself glued to Netflix for 8 hours, it's your body and brain saying, I must take a break. So what does burnout look like for ADHDers? Burnout in ADHDers can look a little different from what's typically described. Here are some signs to watch for. Chronic exhaustion. You feel physically and mentally drained even after a full night's sleep or taking breaks. You emotionally shut down. Everything feels overwhelming, and you might retreat from tasks, relationships, or responsibilities. I've been known to do this. I know how my week is going to roll out. So there are times where I just get super tired and I shut down for a good amount of the day, knowing I can pick it back up tomorrow. But that's not a good practice to get into. So it's something to try to get a handle on before that happens. Loss of interest, even things that you're passionate about suddenly feel like a chore. That spark you usually feel is missing. Increased ADHD symptoms, forgetfulness, procrastination, and difficulty focusing becomes worse than usual. It feels like your ADHD is running the show. Physical symptoms, headaches, muscle tension, or frequent illness might start creeping in as stress takes a toll on your body. Now, isn't this interesting? Most of those signs also fall under the category of depression. And many of us with ADHD were diagnosed with depression and the ADHD was never even thought of. When I say the doctors just went ahead and said, oh, you're depressed, right? These signs also are signs of burnout. So if you're an ADHDer and you're doing a lot of things and you're burnt out and you don't know it, it could look like depression. So how to avoid burnout? Well, how do we stop burnout before it starts? Here are some strategies that might help. Know your limits. Practice saying no and setting boundaries. It's okay to protect your energy. Use simple scripts like, I'd love to help, but I don't have the bandwidth right now. Prioritize rest and breaks. Build rest into your day. Some set timers to remind yourself to pause, stretch, or step away. When you're time blocking, we've talked about this in the past. If you go ahead and set a 45-minute time block because you're working on a project, it is just as vital and important to take 10 to 15 minutes after that time block to stretch, take a walk. Some people run in place, go get a glass of water, take your dog outside, just take a break and then come back to do your next time block after your break. And remember, it's not lazy. Breaks aren't laziness. They're essential. Use time management tools. Tools like time blocking, Pomodoro timers, or task managers can help you avoid overcommitting and structure your day more effectively. Delegate and ask for help. You don't have to do this all yourself. Whether it's hiring help, asking your partner, or outsourcing tasks, lightening your load is a win. Practice self-compassion. Burnout often comes from being too hard on ourselves. Give yourself some grace and remember, progress over perfection. So, what happens if you are in burnout? Well, don't worry, recovery is possible. So start with these steps. Take a step back. Take a mental health day or a week if you can. Pause the hustle and focus on rest. Reassess your priorities. Write down your tasks and decide what's truly essential. Drop or postpone what isn't urgent. I think if we can practice this more often, we could avoid burnout. What I have learned to do that works well for me is I work off a 12-week calendar plan. I will connect the link to the book called A 12-Week Year below. What this allows me to do is set my goals and intentions for the next 12 weeks. And I ask myself, when something comes up, does this serve my goals and intentions for the next 12 weeks? And if it doesn't, I say no. I've been getting better at this, but it is constant practice for me. I'm still learning boundaries. You can connect with support. So if you are in burnout mode, it's so important to call your therapist or a coach or a trusted friend. Sometimes a little outside perspective can help you see the way forward and help you get out of it faster. Eat nourishing foods, hydrate and get some light movement in, or go to the gym if you are motivated. And in some cases, watching Netflix all day in your PJs is wonderful. So simple self-care can work wonders. I also like setting an alarm on my phone to eat something every 3 hours. Eat some protein every 3 hours. It will help maintain your body and your brain throughout the day. Burnout doesn't have to be a part of life with ADHD. By understanding how it happens, recognizing the signs, and building burnout prevention habits, you can thrive without hitting that dreaded wall. What happened to me was I had to learn the hard way. My daughter was quite young. She was about 2.5, 3 when this happened. No, maybe she was 4. Not good with numbers or ages, but I think she was 4 years old. And I was pushing myself really, really hard. I wasn't feeling very well. I was training for a half marathon. I had a ton of business going on and I had a 4-year-old and I just kept pushing. Well, what happened was 9 days in the hospital. I got sepsis and it was because my immune system had hit a wall. So don't do it that way. It doesn't need to be done that way. You just have to connect in and pay attention to the signs every day so that you can avoid pushing yourself too hard. If you're struggling or you just want some personalized strategies, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help you create a plan that works for you. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Mindset with Gina. If you found today's conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who could use this advice. Let's continue the conversation. Follow me on Instagram at ADHD Coaching with Gina for more tips and insights. And remember, life isn't a race. It's more like a leisurely walk or a fast walk with the occasional stop for snacks. So take a deep breath, slow your roll, and savor the moments. Who knows, you might just find some hidden treasures along the way. And until next time, keep it calm, keep it steady, and always keep it fun. Thanks for tuning into Mindset with Gina. Now go enjoy the art of doing absolutely nothing for at least 5 minutes. You've earned it.